Ladies and gentlemen, Eagles Nation, buckle up, because if you're not feeling the electricity in the air right now, you might just be a Cowboys fan in disguise. Picture this. The Philadelphia Eagles, your green-blooded warriors, storming out of gate 4-0 in the 2025 season, looking like the unstoppable force we all dreamed of after that heart-pounding Super Bowl parade back in 2018. But hold on. Amid the cheers and the "Fly, Eagles, Fly" chants echoing from the Nova Scotia exiles to the depths of South Philly bars, there's a storm cloud hovering over Lincoln Financial Field. And at its center, none other than A.J. Brown, the big-bodied beast who's supposed to be feasting on cornerbacks, not fuming on the sidelines. Is this the crack in the armor that could derail another championship run, or just the fire that forges legends? Tonight, we're diving deep into the drama that's got the whole NFC East buzzing. Welcome to Eagles Report. I'm your host, and trust me, you won't want to miss a snap of this. Let's kick things off with a headline straight from the city of brotherly love, where brotherly is starting to feel a tad strained. The Eagles are 20-1 over the past calendar year. Yeah, you heard that right. A ridiculous streak that's got them perched atop the NFC like a hawk eyeing its prey. They just bulldoze the Buccaneers. Thanks to Saquon Barkley's earth-shaking runs and Jalen Hurts threading needles like he's got a sixth sense. But while the W's are piling up, one of the team's crown jewels, A.J. Brown, is letting it be known he's starving for touches. After a monster 109-yard, one-touchdown explosion against the Rams in Week 2, remember that? The one where he mossed a defender and turned a simple slant into a soul-crushing highlight reel. Brown came crashing back to earth with just 2 catches on 7 targets against Tampa Bay. Ouch! And if that wasn't enough to light the fuse, he fired off a tweet that's got theologians and tailgaters alike scratching their heads. A quote from Mark 6, verse 11 in the Bible. If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulder and be on your way. Subtle as a sledgehammer, right? It's a kind of passive-aggressive poetry that screams volumes in a locker room full of alpha males. Now, fast forward to Monday's presser at the NovaCare complex, where head coach Nick Sirianni, the guy who's ridden the highs of that 2017 Lombardi Trophy and the lows of a brutal 2023 collapse, faced the music head-on. Reporters, sensing blood in the water, zeroed in on Brown's simmering frustration. And Sirianni? He didn't dodge. He leaned in. Yeah, he wants to be here. Obviously, AJ is very important to this football team. I know he wants to contribute and do the things that he's capable of doing. Again, he wants to contribute to these wins. And he's had a couple of games where he hasn't been able to do for different reasons. I question nothing about his desire to play great football, desire being a good teammate, and desire to be here. Straight from the mouth of the man himself, via our friends at The Athletic's Zach Berman. It's classic Sirianni, defensive yet devoted, like a dad reassuring his star son after a tough practice. But let's be real, in the high-stakes world of the NFL, words are cheap. Actions? Those are the currency that buys rings. So, what's really going on under the hood of this Eagles offense? Strap in for some tactical tape study, because this isn't just about one guy's hurt feelings. It's a symptom of philosophy that's winning games but testing souls. Remember last year, 2024? Brown, the 3-time All-Pro of Ole Miss, had etched his name in Philly lore with back-to-back 1,000-plus yard seasons to start his Eagles tenure. 1,450 yards his rookie year here, then dipping to 1,079 in 24. Why the drop? Sirianni, ever the ground-and-pound disciple of Andy Reid's old tricks, went full run-first mode. Saquon Barkley, that freight train we pried away from the Giants in a move that still has Big Blue fans seething, exploded for league-leading rushing and scrimmage yards. The man was a one-man wrecking crew, plowing through defensive lines like they were made of wet cardboard. It worked. Philly's ground game became a sledgehammer, but at what cost? Wideouts like Brown and Devonta Smith, that dynamic Ole Miss duo who's supposed to be torching secondaries, were left twiddling thumbs on the perimeter. Enter 2025, and Sirianni's not one to mess with a good thing lightly. He hands the reins to new offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, a Philly lifer who's all about that blue-collar brutality. The tweak? A more physical, smash-mouth approach. or the infamous tush push. You know, that quarterback sneak where the whole O-line turns into a human catapult, launching Hurts forward for easy yards. Controversial? Sure, it's got the purist crying foul, calling it a gimmick that cheapens a game. But effective? Baby, it's poetry in motion. The Eagles are gashing defenses, controlling the clock like a metronome, and Barkley's feasting again. Philly's 4-0, folks, with an average of over 30 points per game. The problem? It's coming at the expense of the air raid. Brown's line right now: 14 receptions on 28 targets for 151 yards and a single touchdown. That's not Brown ball. That's a cameo in someone else's highlight film. Targets are down, routes are shorter, and the ball's hitting Barkley's hands or Hurts' legs before it ever sniffs the wide zone. It's smart football. Data shows run-heavy teams win more in the playoffs. But tell that to a guy who's supposed to be the engine, not the spare tire. And Brown? He's not whispering complaints. He's broadcasting them. Last year, during a similar drought, the big fella pulled a stunt that had us all chuckling through frustration. He started cracking open books on the sideline. War and Peace? Nah, more like self-help tomes on mindset and legacy. It was his way of saying, I'm bigger than this bench, a nod to the mental grind that separates good from great. Fast forward, and now we got Hall of Famer Chad Johnson, Akasinko himself, riding to the rescue on his Nightcap podcast. Do you understand what that does to players' mentality? I don't think fans understand. Yes, they won the game, but players want to contribute and help to win those said games. A.J. Brown has been telling us this for years now. Last year, he was reading his book, You're Paying Me $33 million. Not only am I the number one receiver, but I'm the captain of the team for a reason. Boom. Chad gets it, because who better? The guy's danced his way through 11 seasons, turning frustration into flair. It's a reminder that even in victory, the human element simmers. Imagine you're Brown, drafted 52nd overall in 2019 by the Titans, traded to Philly in 22 for a first-rounder and more, then inked to that monster extension, making him one of the highest-paid receivers in the league. You're 28, in your prime, with hands like magnets and a frame built for contested catches. And yet, you're watching from the slot while Barkley dances for 150 yards. It's enough to make any competitor's blood boil. But let's pump the brakes and zoom out. Because this isn't just 2025 drama. It's woven into the fabric of Eagles history, that glorious, gritty tapestry of heartbreak and heroism. Think back to the 90s when Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, redefined what a defensive end could be, sacking QBs with the fury of 1,000 Sunday sermons. Or Brian Dawkins, weapons on wheels, patrolling the secondary like a predator in green, his pre-snap war cries still giving me chills. Donovan McNabb, the Golden Calf, slinging it to the likes of Terrell Owens in that electric 0-4 run to the NFC Championship, before T.O.'s sideline sit-in turned the locker room into a soap opera. Hell, even our 2017 saviors, Nick Foles, the Philly special wizard, Carson once grinding through injuries, and a fan base so rabid they painted the field green and stormed the field, twice. We've seen star egos clash before. Deshaun Jackson's Twitter rants, LaShawn McCoy's quiet exits. But Brown? He's cut from that same cloth. Loyal yet fierce, a captain who lead by example. And in the NFC East, this rivalry pot's always boiling. The Cowboys are lurking with Dak Prescott's arm turning Dallas into contenders again. The Giants nursing grudges from that Barkley heist. And the Commanders, well, they're the Commanders. One underutilized weapon could tip the scales in a division where every game feels like a blood feud. To get the pulse of the people, I caught up with a fictional fly on the wall. Or should I say, a fictional chat with Jalen Hurts himself post-practice at the Link. Picture this. Hurts, that stoic Alabama product turned Philly folk hero, towel around his neck, flashing that $1 million smile. AJ's my brother out there, he'd say, voice steady as a 2-minute drill. We've been scheming ways to get him to rock. Maybe sneak him some jet sweeps off play action. Let that YAC monster loose. Wins are wins, but championships are built on feeding your killers. Trust the process, but evolve it. And from the stands, let's channel the spirit of a bleary-eyed Birds fan named Tommy from Fishtown, nursing a yangling after last Sunday's watch party. Trade AJ over my cold cheesesteak. He's a muscle that clears lanes for Devonta, the deep threat that freezes safeties for Saquon. Sirianni better wake up, or we'll be chanting his name backwards. Raw, real, and quintessentially Philly, where passion isn't polite. It's a punch to the gut. Now, the million-dollar question, or in Brown's case, the $33 million won. Should the Eagles trade him away? The internet's ablaze with mock deals, and the hottest rumor mill points north to Foxborough. Yeah, the New England Patriots, fresh off a rebuild that's got M sniffing playoffs, could dangle a haul of picks and maybe a young stud like Drake May's backup for taking. Ryan McLaughlin over at Musket Fire laid it out. Brown is the highest paid receiver in the NFL and is under contract through 2029. While it's doubtful that Philadelphia would give him up coming off a Super Bowl championship, New England could shock the NFL world with a deal such as this. The Patriots would have to give up multiple draft picks and likely some players, but Brown's talents could be worth it. Shocking? Absolutely. But in Howie Roseman's world, Philly's draft wizard who's turned trades into an art form, nothing's off the table. Brown's locked until he's pushing 30s, but the tush-push train keeps chugging at the expense of the pass game. Could reset benefit both sides? Expert take from our imaginary analyst, ex-Eagles OC Frank Reich. Look, the data's clear. Teams that balance run-pass ratios above 55 to 45 make deeper playoff runs. Philly's at 65 to 35 right now. Tweak it or risk a one-and-done January. Brown's not a problem. He's a solution staring you in the face. Peering ahead, this week's a litmus test. The 2-2 Denver Broncos roll into the Link on Sunday, bringing Sean Payton's scheming mind and a secondary that's vulnerable to big plays. Perfect storm for Brown to remind everyone why he's here. Prediction? Eagles roll 28-17, but watch for Hurts to force-feed AJ at least 8 targets. Maybe a 100-yard bomb to silence the doubters. Long term? If Sirianni adjusts, maybe dusting off some RPO wrinkles from his days under Reed, this offense becomes a juggernaut. Barkley from the backfield, Brown and Smith stretching fields like taffy. Playoffs? Locked in as the number 1 seed, avenging that Cowboys heartbreak from 24. But ignore the wide-out woes, and we could be replaying 23's fade out all over again. The NFC East crowns within grasp. Don't let internal static fuzz a signal. Eagles fans, as the sun sets on another perfect week, remember this. Philly sports isn't for the faint of heart. It's for those who bleed green, who turn frustration into fuel, who know that from the ashes of Super Bowl AI's underdog miracle rises something unbreakable. So grab your jerseys, fire up the grills, and get ready to pack the Link. Because come Sunday, when that sea of midnight green roars, anything's possible. Will AJ break free? Will Sirianni script the perfect balance? Tune in, cheer loud, and keep the faith. This is Eagles Report. Fly high, stay hungry, and we'll see you on the flip side. Go Birds!